So I wanted to kind of bring this around a little bit now that we've talked a bit about the mental health piece is building compassionate communities. And one of the things that I wish that we were seeing more awareness of within the media, and looking at what potential lessons learned are from this, is the vulnerable sectors of society. So when I think of those who are homeless, not by choice, but by whatever circumstance may be, for their life experiences, that's where they find the position that they find themselves in. So not only do you have people who are coming from, shelters where they share a meal a day with 600 other people, and if they find lodging for the night within a shelter, they're having to share space with others, and they're trying to do this physical distancing, but they're not able to because that's not a realm of their world, and we're not really talking about it. The other is within the correctional services. And as well for those who are dealing with isolation, who have disabilities. So they maybe don't have access to their personal care workers anymore, or the supports that the luxuries, if what little bit of luxury, if one could even consider it that, to have access to some care or assistance. And I often find myself thinking about how they're managing it. And that kind of brings me to what maybe some of your thoughts are around building capacity around compassionate communities and recognizing the more vulnerable in our society. And we can touch on the advanced care planning too, but just from that perspective of compassion.
Yes, when we see such suffering and disparities of wealth and resources, right? When we see such injustices or such epidemic poverty and struggle in cities and provinces and communities that are actually very wealthy, that is an invitation. That is a call to compassionate action, right? That's this opportunity for those who have, and systems that are able to step up and put in creative, empowering support systems that primarily and first restore and respect the dignity of the people that they are there to serve, right, and empower them for good choices and to build community, and not to do this for them or to them, but with them, right, involved in the conversation, because otherwise it's not community. Any suffering is this opportunity for transformation. When we come back to like cancer, getting a diagnosis of cancer or a serious disease, I find it so helpful to when people move from why is this happening to me, move from that to what am I going to do with this? How am I going to use this struggle to deepen my humanity, wake me up to the texture of life and the gift of today, and connect me to others to build community? How can I be sure that I'm not going to waste the crisis because I don't know how to navigate it? Well, that's where community and experts and connections, there are people around who have great insights and great creativity and great compassion and resources to do this. We're talking about an incredibly complex, multi-level situation in our society. It can be overwhelming. I'm shocked, startled, amazed when I hear social scientists point out that actually we live in the most peaceful period in human history. People are living longer than ever. The percentage of the human population that lives in poverty, extreme poverty, is at an all-time low, and all of this continues to improve. That's great. However, there's so much more we can do. We are aware of the waste, the extremes of between the ultra-rich and the poor. The disparity is wider than ever. So let's not let the good news of how the overall picture is going take the fuel out of our drive or the focus out of our vision to make this world a better place. And you do that with the people in front of you and the person inside who you are.
Well put, David. I can see maybe future discussions coming up, and we can maybe hone in and focus in a little bit more on some of these things.
So much to talk about, but boy, this hour has been pretty thick. Wow.
Well, I wanted to touch upon, the whole building compassionate communities and how the element of advanced care planning. And I think about, on a personal level, that advanced care planning it's very much about how we care for each other within our own little nuclear units, but in the broader perspective, at a community level, we reduce the anxiety on those, as you would know, working within the healthcare sector and those palliative care units and ICU units, that when advanced care plans are put in place, it reduces the stress not only on the patient and the families and their loved ones, not even during those later phases of life, and even in the bereavement process for the families, but it also reduces the stress and anxiety for the healthcare professionals, because they have a guided direction. And so to me, I look at it and I just think, how could you not want to do advanced care planning? Because it's a win-win-win.
Exactly. Well over 60% of resources go into the last 6 months of life in resources in the healthcare system. So expenditures in healthcare in Canada and in Western countries. So most of the resources go into the last 6 months of life. Why? Well, because we're scared and anxious and cramming for the exam and trying to extend this life in the face of a crisis. An advanced care plan can lower the anxiety as well as result in, a more sustainable healthcare system. My thoughts went to, my thoughts are going all over the place. There's so much that can be done, but let's not get overwhelmed by it. Do what you can, where you are, who you're with, and let that start with your own life and how you would love to see it unfold for the years to come, or if it's months to come, hopefully longer, but imagine how you want to leave this world, right? And know that with good planning, it can be gentle, it can be noble, it can give time to celebrate your life with those you love. Don't you want them to raise a glass in your honor and for you to smile and soak up the love, right? Plan it out.
Yeah, just take that time and start the conversation. And I mean, it's something that has to be revisited as well. Once you do engage in advanced care planning, is revisited often. Every birthday or tax time, or when there's a milestone, is revisited and reflect on if your wishes and your values and beliefs are still the same, because sometimes they change throughout the course of life.
Yeah.
But I think as we come to a close, sorry, I sounded like you were going to jump in there with a point.
I was actually going to ask. I can't remember the name of the website. Is it speakup.com or is it advancedcareplanning.com?
It's both for now, but what we're finding is we're moving towards our advancedcareplanning.ca. So it's www.advancedcareplanning.ca. And we have we're in the midst of kind of changing over and making our website easier to navigate, because there's a lot of information that's available. But interestingly, we've had some new approaches that we've taken this year. We developed, or I didn't develop, but Tara Shannon and Haley McLean co-wrote a song called Say, and it speaks to, I know you like milk over cream, and it's the Stones over the Beatles, but tell me everything, don't leave anything out. And I don't know if you've had an opportunity to hear it, but it's quite a profound way to just, somebody to say, hey, I'm not sure how to start that conversation, but come listen to this song. It's really neat. And it's about advanced care planning and speaking up and not leaving anything because we think we often know so much about an individual, but then there may be things that we were completely off the mark. And that's why it's important to have these conversations, because then you're not left at the end during that bereavement phase one day, if you're ever in that situation, doubting yourself. Did I make the right decision? Is that what they would have wanted? Did she like them? What are their favorite flowers, for instance? It's just a win-win-win, and something that I hope that more Canadians will invest the time and the courage, because you have to be brave to strike these conversations with your loved ones. A lot.
Makes me want to put together an advanced care planning playlist. I can think of a bunch of songs that would be great.
So true. But this song is it's quite poignant, and we have a public service announcement that we just was just put out on our YouTube channel, which is Speak Up in Advanced Care Planning. And we had behind the scenes from the United States. It's hosted by Lawrence Fishburne. To do a documentary on advanced care planning in Canada. And
oh yeah.
there are several other countries that look to us to see what we're doing in Canada because of our diversity, our vast land, our challenges with the geography of delivering quality healthcare. And for the most part, we do a really good job, but there's much work to be done when it comes to hospice, palliative care, and advanced care planning in Canada.
Just very briefly, going back to compassionate communities and the strife in this world now. I can't remember the website, but Karen Armstrong, fantastic writer, theologian, researcher, social scientist, has started something, I think it's called Compassionate Communities, where cities can declare themselves as centers of compassion, and groups can work towards being a compassionate society. So I'm sure if you put in Karen Armstrong and compassionate communities, you'll get their website, and it's full of resources too.
Thank you for sharing that, David. And there's quite a movement within Canada that there are cities that are adopting those policies of creating healthy communities and compassionate communities. So the movement is on the uprising within Canada, and people are becoming more engaged in that. So that's encouraging.
Let's not waste the crisis.
Yeah. There's lots of lessons to be learned out of this, and lots of takeaways to quality of life for Canadians and healthcare needs in the future.
Yeah.
But I'd like to take the time to thank you for generously giving your time to the advanced care planning movement and Speak Up campaign, and lending your thoughts. They've been very valuable in hearing from me personally, but I hope that by sharing this with others, that they too will benefit greatly from it. I'm sure they will. And I'd often, based on feedback that we would receive from people, I'd welcome you to join us to have another chat. And maybe if we hear back from enough people, they can speak to some of the things that they'd like more information on. And that would be nice too, because it's all about, working collaboratively and working together and helping one another and establishing and shaping those compassionate communities, whether they're virtual or in our where we call home.
Yeah,
So
I'd be honored to have another conversation. Thank you for having me on, and to the viewers, thanks for hanging in through a long chat and a lot of deep stuff. And God bless you. Just wish you deep peace and connection for this world. Yeah.
And again, our thoughts and our wishes go to those who are suffering and enduring hardships across the world, beyond our own borders. And be safe and be well. And to everyone who's joined us for this discussion, we hope that you found some great value in it, and that perhaps you join us again in the future. But let us know. We do have an info line that is at info@advancedcareplanning.net, I believe. If I'm mistaken, I've got so many things floating around in my head today. But we'll make sure that we put the web links up to these resources and our online profile at the end of the presentation. So good night, and be well, be safe, and be grateful, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.